What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, keeping you up to date on all the latest wrestling news, all the latest rumors, reports, and botches, because there was a massive botch on SmackDown this week, which could be hinting at Brock Lesnar's return already. So we are talking that everything that went down on SmackDown, the latest in regards to The Rock possibly returning, and a massive WWE celebration being set up, the latest in regards to NXT Call-Ups and what exactly Vince McMahon's want from it, reports of Samoa Joe possibly heading back to NXT, and more. Before we get into it though, make sure that you guys have 619 that like button, and if you guys want to keep up to date on all the latest wrestling reports, make sure to subscribe and even check out the second channel for more wrestling content. And let's start off with our Brock Lesnar or Brock Bailey botch from last night's SmackDown. So during the show, there appeared to be a weird production error as Bailey was making her way to her Ding Dong Hello segment with Seth Rollins. WWE decided to give her a lower third graphic, her name template indicating Brock Lesnar WWE Champion with Paul Heyman. This obviously got a lot of attention on social media right away, because first of all, Brock Lesnar is not back, and Brock Lesnar is certainly not the WWE Champion, and Bailey is now Brock Lesnar. So there's a lot of questions right now, but certainly feels like WWE is getting ready for a Brock Lesnar return. And does this mean that he's gonna go for that WWE Championship once he comes back? Production botches like this usually happen in the WWE, but it never really happened with talent no longer quote-unquote under contract. Graphics are not usually on standby for people who are not being featured, and Brock Lesnar is not expected back until late summer, possibly for SummerSlam at the earliest. This is probably a very weird production that Vince McMahon is not gonna be happy in the backstage, or again, maybe this is done on purpose just to tease that Brock Lesnar return. With the live audience returning, almost like every single report indicate that WWE is trying to bring back a lot of top talent to sell tickets and get back into normal. Well, arguably there's no bigger talent that WWE could bring back than Brock Lesnar to be an active competitor in the roster, or at least a part-timer as he is. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, guys. Will you be down to see Brock Lesnar running back as WWE Champion? And will you be excited for a Brock Lesnar versus a Bobby Lashley match? I feel like a lot of us would, because we've been waiting for it. That could be a heck of a main event for SummerSlam, or a second main event if that John Cena versus Roman Reigns match ends up happening. On to some other news, and we're talking about returns where it looks like the most electrifying man in sport entertainment might be making a return later on this year to WWE, and for a specific reason. Reports are indicating that WWE really wants to bring back The Rock for an appearance at Survivor Series this year, with the reason being that this will be a big celebration for him, as it will be his 25th anniversary of his debut. So sort of like they did with The Undertaker in the past, they themed the show around him to celebrate that big anniversary. They're trying to do the same with The Rock. The Wrestling Observer Radio also indicate that WWE is hoping that it will lead into something bigger, like the long rumor Roman Reigns versus The Rock match at WrestleMania. So maybe they will end up teasing something in a segment at that event that could ultimately set us up for the Royal Rumble, and then after that WrestleMania. Adding to the Survivor Series event, Andrew Sarian ended up indicating that early plan is to have the show take place in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. He also ended up indicating that WWE is looking to make this event really big, probably the biggest one with someone like The Rock being in it, considering how much of a main attraction he is. On to some other news, and I'm all down for this. Fightful Select indicates that they're heard from talent within the company that there is interest in bringing Samoa Joe back to NXT in a wrestling role. They made all of these reports clear though that this is just a large speculation at the moment from wrestlers who believe it, that it could be happening. For what it's worth, Samoa Joe was also apparently at the Performance Center this week, but it is unknown exactly why. Maybe he ended up having some type of meetings with WWE officials. All I know is that NXT TakeOver in your house is gonna be this Sunday, so who knows, maybe WWE got the guts to actually make it happen and already bring back Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe in NXT was absolutely incredible, so I'm down to see it once again. Sticking with NXT, there's some interesting reports in regards to upcoming call-ups and what exactly Vince McMahon is looking for. Ringside News ended up indicating that NXT call-ups coming soon to Raw and SmackDown will mostly feature superstars with actual personality, because Vince McMahon is not looking for wrestlers, he is looking for personalities. And there's definitely a lot of superstars that got the it factor on NXT, many of which are top level superstars, and I feel like after NXT TakeOver in your house this weekend, we're probably going to be getting some hints on who exactly might end up getting called up. And last but not least, on this roundup, we're running down everything that went down on this week's SmackDown. The show opened up with Jimmy Uso sending a message to the head of the table, Roman Reigns, as he is not too happy that Roman Reigns interfered in his tag team match last week. Throughout the night, we had a couple of segments, and Jey Uso was always in the middle of it, so things continued to heat up to the point where Jey Uso walked out on Roman Reigns and his brother because he's sick of being in the middle of it. Roman Reigns then ended up giving Jimmy Uso a talk, which was a very soft one and a very good one, as Roman Reigns just continued to elevate himself as an actor. Roman Reigns, the family man, convincing Jimmy now that this is all his fault and to go get his brother back. This was an episode of the Head of the Tables and how the tables have turns for Jimmy Uso, something like that. We then had Kevin Owens and Big E defeating Sami Zayn and Apollo Crews. Sami Zayn was the one getting pinned here by Kevin Owens. So next week we are gonna be having Commander C making his in-ring debut next to Apollo Crews to take on Kevin Owens and Big E. We had Liv Morgan getting the best out of Carmella this week with a singles victory. We then had the laughing segment of Bayley Ding Dong Hello featuring Seth Rollins. I was actually excited for this segment until it just turned out to be a laughing segment between Seth Rollins and Bayley, and then reviewing good clips that they ended up having last week. I got a good laugh at it because it is Bayley and it is Seth Rollins after all. They're almost like one and the same for their respective division. All of this ended with Cesaro knocking on the door of the set. He goes on and attacks Seth Rollins, who opened the door. The set is all destroyed, so then Bianca Belair comes out and she just laughed as Bayley's trying to pick up the set. We had Montez Ford defeating Chad Gable but by disqualification, and Otis ended up debuting a brand new look, I guess, shaving up all his beard as he is now unhinged and I guess a brand new monster among men. Shinsuke Nakamura ended up defeating King Corbin for like the 4th week in a row. He also ended up stealing King Corbin's crown for like the 6 weeks in a row. So this segment just keep repeating itself. Maybe next week is when it ends because they finally putting the crown on the line in a crowns match. And then for the main event, we had Rey Mysterio calling out the Universal Champion Roman Reigns and challenging him to a Hell in a Cell match, because as Rey Mysterio indicated, it doesn't even matter if he doesn't win that match. He's just trying to get some revenge for his son Dominic, who was attacked last week. Before Roman Reigns even accepted the challenge, Rey Mysterio pulled out a candlestick out of nowhere and started attacking Roman. Roman tried to make a comeback from under the ring, I guess. Comes out Dominic with another candlestick. Roman tried to fight it up, but in the end, there's just too many candlesticks around. More of the story, if you're gonna mess with the Mysterio, you better get ready to eat a couple of candlesticks. And I guess this pretty much confirms that we are gonna be getting Roman versus Rey at Hell in a Cell. Now I'm excited for this matchup. I don't necessarily think that it needs to be inside the Hell in a Cell. This is obviously WWE putting it in there because it is the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I mean, this feud just started a week ago. This is the first time that these two guys confront each other for this feud. So it already doesn't need a Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell is supposed to end things once and for all. But nowadays, we just get it on the first matchup of a certain feud. Regardless though, this is gonna be a classic matchup. And if it goes anything like Brock versus Rey, it should be a banger. Anyways guys, that is what I got for you. If you enjoy, find it informative, don't forget to elbow drop it and hit those notifications. I'll catch you on the next one, so stay savage.